So I've rewatched Parks and Rec 3 times so far in 2026. I recently started a 4th rewatch, and a few days in, I was on season 3 again, and I couldn't stop thinking about Wolverine, a YouTuber with an iconic YouTube series recapping The Office episode by episode. I've been wishing for years that he'd cover Parks and Rec, but it doesn't seem like he's going to do this for a while, so I've decided I'm just going to make the content that I want to see. I'll link his channel in the description because this is heavily inspired by him. His Office series is incredible, and everyone who likes The Office, even passively, should go and enjoy it. I plan to cover each episode in its own video, and I want it to be a discussion with other people who love this show as much as me. So comment your thoughts and anything you think I've missed or overlooked, and we could always revisit it.
What is it?
So let's start with some context. This episode mostly serves to introduce us to our early regular characters, and to set up the overarching plot, not only for this season, but for the whole show. We learn about the general conflict that the main character, Leslie Knope, has to face. An empty pit nearby citizen Ann Perkins' house. As an optimistic and eager government employee, Leslie views this as the perfect opportunity to build a community park. We as the audience get to see all the characters' personalities and approaches to work and life through the show's mockumentary-style filming. While on a fact-finding mission, Leslie falls into the pit and goes to Ron for approval of building a park on the lot. We see that despite Ron and Mark both seeming to believe that the park is not realistic or possible, they decide to support her in getting the project started.
Do you see him? Do you think a depressed person could make this? No.
The show received mixed reviews for the first episode. It seems partially because of the comparisons to The Office it was getting at the time, with The Office being fully up and running and in its heyday at this point.
Dwight Schrute?
Hello, trader.
I think you have the wrong number, Michael.
I am going to come at you, and I'm going to come at you hard.
And Parks and Rec being created by some of the same people, the public seemed to believe that this was going to be a spin-off. Therefore, compared to the episodes of The Office that were broadcasting at the same time as episode 1 of Parks and Rec, Parks clearly fell short. On my recent watch-through of the show, I counted the number of times I laughed during each episode. Now, to classify this, I didn't require like a laugh-out-loud hysterical moment, but anything from a little breath out of my nose because of something funny happening, from a spoken joke to a reaction, or just Ron running. Honestly, if Ron runs on screen, or even just smiles into the camera, it's guaranteed I'll laugh.
Andy, wait up!
I laughed only 3 times during this episode, compared to when we get to season 3, where I average like 30 laughs per episode.
Chocolate, booze, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and treasure chests.
There honestly isn't much of a deeper meaning in this one, as we're mostly spending time learning who each of the characters are and setting up the plot. Leslie is portrayed as way more idiotic in this episode, whereas later in the show's running, she becomes smart and logical. The people around her view her as an overly optimistic and idealistic employee, whereas they have more of a grounded and negative view of government work. It almost feels like she is written to be another bumbling Michael Scott in this episode, whereas later in the show, she becomes far more competent. Leslie is still hung up on Mark, and my interpretation of this is that she's so focused on her work that she's not prioritising dating after hooking up with Mark 5 years ago, and she is instead idealising what could have been. Mark is shown to barely even remember the event, and is clearly oblivious to her continued feelings, setting him up to be a player. When we meet Tom, he comes across as sleazy and gross, but this character gets fleshed out really well by the end of the second season, showing why he behaves the way he does despite being married.
Probably feel like you need to move on,
What?
just become more
What is
adventurous
this?
in relationships with your body,
Are you actually hitting on me right now?
Oh God, no, I'm not hitting on you. I'm actually married. I'm just an open person, and I like connecting with people. I'm, very comfortable around women, attractive women.
Andy is another character who is goofy but ultimately pretty unlikable in this episode, being a deadbeat lazy boyfriend.
Honey, do you mind doing that somewhere else? I'm trying to watch TV.
I'm talking about the pit you fell in.
This continues the tone of the early parts of Parks and Rec being negative and making Leslie stand out as the only positive person in her circle.
I don't know, she's a little doofy, but she's sweet.
This again will eventually shift dynamics as the show finds its feet and gradually makes sure all of the characters have redeeming and likeable characteristics. This episode has a slightly different dynamic to the rest of the show, with the characters directly commenting on the documentary, such as Ron asking the camera crew who's paying them.
Did you guys get a grant to do this?
The later episodes almost seem to forget that the camera's there, except for the occasional eye contact and of course talking heads.
I think I'm safe. She's gotta be tired by now.
I rated the cold open a 3 out of 10. It is iconic in that it's the first thing we ever see of this show and of Leslie. However, it isn't funny. The character of Leslie doesn't feel like herself, and it goes on far longer than it needs to. I rated the credits scene a 4 out of 10. The credits scenes in the early season or so aren't as thought out, but by the middle of season 2 there's a clear shift where they begin using this final moment of an episode to get a good laugh out of the audience. But this isn't so prevalent early on, with the episodes just ending without a distinct ending scene. Overall, I rate this episode 4 out of 10. I think it's a must-see for fans of the show, but if I'm recommending the show to a friend who hasn't seen it before, I am guilty of suggesting they start from like mid-season 2. Rewatches should always include season 1 because I think that there's so much to gain from seeing where the show started. The characters change a lot over the course of the show, but you can see so much heart and passion for each character, even from here, with each actor improvising and fleshing out who their character is. The show pretty much only goes up from here, but I have so much love and appreciation for this show already.
Hello? We're having a meeting in here.
Does anybody have any questions